happy Sunday, everybody. My name's Anthony. If you're joining me for the first time, welcome. And if you're coming back, thank you. So in case you don't know what I'm doing, I am cooking through all of the dishes and recipes and mentions of food in the series The Sopranos. Now, I'm still in episode 2, and in this episode, Tony goes over to his mom's house for lunch.
Mom, just Virginia ham.
Go and get yourself some more.
In The Sopranos, the reference we think of the most with Livia, if you've watched the series, is Junior.
She's like a woman with a Virginia ham under her arm, crying the blues because she has no bread.
What makes Virginia ham specific to the U.S.? Well, one thing is the way we raise them. I did a little bit of research. I'm going to be honest, I didn't have a whole lot of time. One thing that I read is there's one type of Virginia ham where while the pigs are still alive, they primarily feed them peaches and apples. And for those who don't know, an animal will take on the taste characteristics of its diet. If you've had deer, you notice it's not quite like the beef we're used to from the store. That's because of its diet and that gamey flavor that we refer to in big game like moose and deer. That's where that comes from, is what they've been eating out in the field. My dad has this standing order with the company to get grass-fed beef, and it tastes a lot more like venison because of the grass that the cow is eating. It translates into taking on that taste signature of gaminess. Peaches and apples. That's the primary diet of a lot of pigs, which will then become Virginia hams. So then I thought, well, why not use peaches? Here's your standard spiral cut ham. The spiral cut doesn't go all the way up. You might be noticing I'm using a foil dish. As much as I'm all about reducing and reusing this with the stickiness, I just thought maybe it'd be better in a pan I could throw away in case I can't get it clean. I should also take the time to mention that throughout my show series, I've been going through the Soprano Family Cookbook and Entertaining with the Sopranos. This recipe is not in either of them. And since I like to give credit where credit is due, I actually am basing this recipe partially off of a Southern style peach honey spiral ham glaze from smithfieldmarketplace.com, and the other half is peach jam glazed ham recipe from myrecipes.com. So thank you for those two sources. I'm gonna go ahead and I'll put the links in the description below. You can check out what the original recipes were that I'm basing this off of. But honestly, I'm kind of freehanding this. Now, most of the time when you go buy a spiral ham, they're gonna give you some sort of glaze for, I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, they gave me all the instructions, and the instructions are right here. Follow them and enjoy your Easter, Christmas, whatever reason you have to be eating a ham. But since I'm gonna be trying my own thing, I don't need that one. Okay, Tony, so you don't need the pre-bought store one. What are you gonna do? I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. So first, get your pot. Obviously, this recipe requires peach and honey. Full disclosure, because I want to be completely honest with you, as I hope you are with me. The store I went to didn't have peach preserve. I rounded up, or down I should say, and I got apricot preserve. I'm sure it'll turn out. So we're gonna start with apricot preserve. I'm gonna put that in here. And of course, unpaid shout out to my good friends at Templeton Nature's Touch Nursery, Melanie and the girls over there. Great honey, great olive oil, great natural produce. So I'm gonna take the honey. The recipe calls for a 1/4 cup, but keeping in mind that honey is sticky, some of it's gonna stay to the cup, and also keeping in mind that honey is just plain delicious, go ahead and put extra. This is cooking, this isn't baking. With baking is a science. You have to be exactly baking. Cooking, now you can do what you want with cooking. That's already turning out great. All right. Peach nectar, I was able to find that. I gotta be honest, do I have to shake this? Shake gently before opening. All right, the recipe says 2 tablespoons. I'll give a little bit more for good measure. We have come to the part of the recipe where I come across something I don't like by itself. There will be leftover of this ham, and I'll eat it in sandwiches. But I'll tell you what's not gonna be on that sandwich. Mustard. I can't stand mustard straight by itself. But the recipe calls for spicy mustard. I'm guessing spicy to counterbalance. And as tradition holds, the timer goes off while I'm talking. I'm guessing spicy to counterbalance all the sugar and sweetness that's in this recipe. Oh, that smells awful. Not as awful as the next smell is gonna be. This is generic store brand. I don't care because I'm not gonna use it. I'm probably gonna leave it here, let my family use it. Okay, smell number 2, which I despise with a great passion. The recipe on the website asks for balsamic. But again, I am going off of the fact that these pigs, while they were alive, were eating peaches and apples. So I'm gonna honor that by using apple cider vinegar. And this is supposed to be 1.5 tablespoons. That was definitely more, but I also put more honey, so hopefully it counterbalances that vinegar. I absolutely am in love with the Riboli family's wines, specifically, obviously the San Antonio, because I'm an egotist and it has my name in it. But number 2, the Stella Rosa. Now in the Stella Rosa line is a peach, which happens to be the one I'm sipping on while I do this. Remember, white wines with white meat. Oh, look at that, an extra glass. Whoops. Might as well, it's peach, right? So at this point, I'm gonna take it to the stove here, which lit on the first try. We bring it up to boil and bring down to simmer. We're just doing this long enough so that the jelly kind of liquefies a bit, and so that the mustard and the vinegar blend in with everything. We want it all just mixed up together. I know, usually I have my GoPro cam looking down here. I got cheap on y'all today, I'm sorry. My apologies. It's been a busy week, you know, Easter and all. All right, I gotta tell you, as much as I don't like vinegar, it is smoothed out nicely in there. Whoops. I'm gonna blend that in, and then it should be good to go for the next step. Okay, it's pretty much blended all in there. If you haven't done so yet, keep in mind that most of these hams come with a little plastic piece on what will be the bottom, or the part that's cut the most open, AKA right here. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and take that off. It was right here on mine. So now with this, let me wash my hands. So with our glaze, you might want to let it cool down just a bit. I know I tend to usually tell you after I've already started, but go ahead and at the beginning, because I'm assuming you're not doing this and watching it at the first time, preheat your oven at 325. So I'm thinking enough time's elapsed. It's cooled down enough. Now you don't want to do all of it at once. You want to only use about half of this now. Reserve at least half for later. So we're just going to drench it over the top in all directions, like so. Remember to reserve half. Take whatever utensil you're using to smear it all over. If you have a brush, you can use it too. Or if you want to make extra of this to make sure that you have enough, go for it. But at this point, you should have some glaze here at the bottom, and all this part should be covered, and you should still have about half left. Now, take your aluminum foil. Put aluminum foil. The aluminum foil, I forgot to tell you to have out. The hop. We are going to kind of loosely cover it. And so what's going to happen is the liquid from the glaze that trickled off Ham Mountain, as it's baking, will go evaporate and kind of have its own little precipitation cycle, the water cycle. So evaporation, cloud, rain, evaporation. Before you preheat the oven, make sure that the racks are spaced so that you can get this much clearance in there all at once. You know, kind of like I didn't do. Perfect. So that's gonna be in there for about 20-ish minutes. And we'll check back in on it then. In the meantime, now's a good time to clean up whatever mess you left. Welcome back. So, confession, technical difficulty. Forgot that the camera wasn't recording, so you missed me taking it out the oven, uncovering it, and taking the remainder of the pot, pouring it on top, and kind of just slathering it all on there. Definitely need to keep this on handy and standby. So now all this glaze is kind of poured down Mount Ham, and you just kind of pouring it back up. If you have a spoon, this one's a good one. That's kind of like a dipper, a scoop. That'll be good for taking the glaze that has fallen to the bottom and starting it back over again on top. We'll do it on this side so you can see. And you just want it re-trickling down. You also might have noticed this is here now. I kind of felt that this was a little too flimsy, so I put that underneath to help me in transferring it from the oven and back. So now it's gonna go in for another 20 minutes. And then when that's done, we will take our little dipper and re-scoop it. Lift with the knees. Ooh, and the vinegar smell, it's still there, it's still present. Like I can still pick up on it, but it's nowhere near as potent or strong or that bad vinegar smell that I despise. It's starting to latch on to all the sweetness. So the smell is evolving. Now the internal temperature should reach 140. Pretty sure this is not gonna be anywhere near that. Take your meat thermometer, if you have a digital one, make sure to turn it on. Let it balance out. I feel like it's hotter in the kitchen than it will be in the center of this ham. I hate that I was right, but it is in fact hotter in the kitchen than it is in the ham. Make sure it doesn't dry out, dehydrate. Make sure you don't dehydrate either. Now the pan I'm using is small enough that all the juice is gathering together. If you use a larger pan and the ham is kind of just in the middle there, and you're noticing a lot of evaporation and you're losing liquid, feel free to use, the recipe says water. If you have more of the peach nectar, I would use that, something with a little more flavor. The fridge is beeping at me, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna put this back in for another 20 minutes. This will take somewhere between an hour and a half to 2 hours. So we're just repeating this cycle every 20 minutes. So we'll check back in again. At this point, I'm calling it good. I'm sure the internal temperature near the bone still is in 140, but the sliced portion on the outside is. And wow, does that look amazing. Whoa. Just out of curiosity, I am gonna see what the temperature is near the bone. So it's about 100. Now, if you're doing this for Easter or Christmas or something, you probably want to transfer it into something other than the pan that it baked in. I am doing this solo, so. Ooh. Whew, man. Do not recommend trying that alone like I just did, unless you are as strong or stronger than me. There we go, finished product as a whole. Now let's go ahead and slice into this thing. Now remember, there is a bone involved here. You can present the spiral cut section right here, and people can grab those slices easily. And just keep shaving off the sides like a Brazilian barbecue. Technically, you're supposed to let it sit for 10 minutes, and I totally didn't. I am so happy. I'm so proud of myself right now. But like I said, the links to the original recipes are in the description below. Please like and subscribe and hit me up on any of my social medias, which should be scrolling down below. It turned out pretty magical. Please tune in next week. We're gonna do prosciutto bread, so that way you're not like a woman with a Virginia ham under her arm complaining that she doesn't have any bread. Have a great week. Thanks.